Hello everyone, welcome. Let's explore the today's editorial page. Our objective is to get familiar with powerful words that will enhance our communication. Also, make sure to pronounce each word after me to improve your pronunciation. Don't forget to take the test at the end of the video. Ready? Let's go. The first word we have is deliberated. It is a verb. In English, deliberated means to consider or think about something carefully and at length. In simple words, it means to think deeply or discuss something thoroughly. Let's see some examples to understand better. The committee deliberated on the best course of action. Another example would be, they deliberated for hours before making a decision. Some synonyms for deliberated are discuss, debate, and ponder. The antonyms, or words with opposite meanings, include rushed, impulsive, and hasty. Don't forget to pronounce the word deliberated correctly. The next word is contentious. It is an adjective. In English, contentious means controversial or causing disagreement. In simpler terms, it refers to something that sparks arguments or disagreements. Let's look at some examples. The topic of politics can be highly contentious. Another example is, the contentious issue led to heated debates among the members. Some synonyms for contentious are controversial, disputable, and debated. Words with opposite meanings or antonyms include agreeable, harmonious, and consensual. Remember to pronounce the word contentious clearly. Moving on to our next word. The word is usurp. It is a verb. In English, usurp means to take or seize something without the right to do so. In simpler words, it refers to grabbing or claiming something without proper permission or justification. The rebel group attempted to usurp the government. Another example would be, the ambitious employee tried to usurp his colleague's position. Some synonyms for usurp are seize, appropriate, and commandeer. It's important to note that the antonyms or words with opposite meanings include surrender, relinquish, and yield. Let's move on to our next word. The word is biennial. It is an adjective. In English, biennial means happening every 2 years. In simpler words, it refers to something that occurs or takes place once every 2 years. Let's see some examples. The biennial conference will be held in Paris next year. Another example is, the biennial festival attracts visitors from all over the world. Some synonyms for biennial are every other, semi-annual, and bi-yearly. Words with opposite meanings or antonyms include annual, monthly, and daily. Pronounce the word biennial clearly to convey its meaning accurately. Our next word is stagnant. It is an adjective. In English, stagnant refers to something showing no activity or progress. It is inactive. In simpler terms, it means something that is not moving or making any progress. Let's look at some examples. The stagnant water in the pond was filled with algae. Another example is, the stagnant economy was a cause for concern. Some synonyms for stagnant are inactive, idle, and motionless. The antonyms, or words with opposite meanings, include dynamic, active, and flowing. Ensure you pronounce the word stagnant correctly. Let's move on to our next word, reckoning. It is a noun. In English, reckoning means the consideration or evaluation of a situation. In simpler words, it refers to assessing or calculating the value or importance of a situation. Let's see some examples. The accountant was busy with the year-end reckoning. Another example is, the reckoning of damages took into account all the expenses. Some synonyms for reckoning are calculation, estimation, and computation. Words with opposite meanings or antonyms include disregard, neglect, and ignorance. Now, let's move on to the next word. Incentivise. It is a verb. In English, incentivize means to provide someone with a motivation or incentive. In simpler words, it means to encourage or stimulate someone by offering rewards or benefits. Let's see some examples. The company offered bonuses to incentivize employees to meet their targets. Another example would be, the teacher used rewards to incentivize students to participate in class. Some synonyms for incentivize are motivate, encourage, and stimulate. Words with opposite meanings include discourage, deter, and dissuade. Moving on to our next word, appropriated. It is a verb. In English, appropriated means to take or use something, especially without permission or justification. In simpler words, it refers to seizing or taking something without proper authorization. Let's see some examples. The artist appropriated images from various sources for her artwork. Another example would be, the funds were appropriated for the construction of a new community center. Some synonyms for appropriated are seize, commandeer, and confiscate. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings, or antonyms, include return, restore, and give back. Our next word is mettle. It is a noun. In English, mettle refers to a person's ability to cope well with difficulties. In simpler terms, it means the strength or resilience someone shows when facing challenges. Let's look at some examples. The athlete showed her mettle by winning the race against tough competition. Another example is, the team's mettle was tested during the challenging project. Some synonyms for mettle are resilience, fortitude, and grit. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings or antonyms include weakness, cowardice, and timidity. Remember to pronounce the word mettle clearly. Moving on to our next word. The word is beckons. It is a verb. In English, beckons means to attract or invite someone. In simpler words, it means to call or signal someone to come closer. Let's see some examples. The beautiful beach beckons tourists from all over the world. Another example is, the opportunity to travel and explore new places beckons adventurers. Some synonyms for beckons are attract, invite, and tempt. Words with opposite meanings or antonyms include repel, deter, and discourage. Now let's move on to our next word, Halcyon Days. It is a noun. In English, Halcyon Days refer to a period of time in the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful. In simpler words, it describes a time in the past that was filled with joy, peace, and happiness. Let's look at some examples. During our vacation, we experienced halcyon days on the beautiful island. Another example is, the halcyon days of their childhood were filled with laughter and joy. Some synonyms for halcyon days are idyllic days, blissful period, and peaceful era. For antonyms, you can use chaotic times, turbulent era, and troubled days. Now let's move on to our next word. The word is stint. It is a noun. In English, stint refers to a period of time spent doing a particular job or activity. In simpler terms, it means the duration or time spent on a specific task or assignment. Let's see some examples. She completed her stint as an intern and was offered a full-time position. Another example is, the actor's stint in the theater production received rave reviews. Some synonyms for stint are period, tenure, and assignment. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings or antonyms include break, hiatus, and vacation. Now let's move on to our next word, sporadic. It is an adjective. In English, sporadic means occurring at irregular intervals. In simpler words, it refers to something that happens infrequently or randomly. Let's look at some examples. The company experienced sporadic sales during the off-season. Another example is, the sporadic rainfall caused disruptions in the outdoor event. Some synonyms for sporadic are infrequent, occasional, and intermittent. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings or antonyms include regular and continuous. Punch above one's weight. It is an idiom or phrase. In English, punch above one's weight means to achieve or perform at a level higher than expected or typical for their capabilities. In simpler words, it refers to surpassing expectations or performing exceptionally well. Let's see some examples. The small startup managed to punch above their weight and compete with established companies. Another example is, despite being a small team, they consistently punch above their weight in terms of productivity. Some synonyms for punch above their weight are outperform, excel, and surpass. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings or antonyms include underperform, lag behind, and fall short. Now, Let's move on to blemish. It is a noun. In English, blemish refers to a small mark or flaw that spoils the appearance of something. In simpler terms, it means a minor imperfection or a mark that affects the overall look. This is how to use it in a sentence. She applied concealer to hide the blemish on her face. Another example is, the antique vase had a small blemish on its surface. Some synonyms for blemish are mark, defect, and flaw. Words with opposite meanings, or antonyms, include perfection, flawless, and impeccable. The next word is arduous. It is an adjective. In English, arduous means involving or requiring strenuous effort, difficult. In simpler words, it describes something that requires a lot of hard work and is challenging. Let's see some examples. The hikers embarked on an arduous journey through the rugged mountains. Another example is the arduous task of completing the project within a tight deadline. Some synonyms for arduous are difficult, challenging, and laborious. On the other hand, words with opposite meanings or antonyms include easy, effortless, and simple. Remember to pronounce the word arduous clearly. Next word is twilight. It is a noun. In English, twilight describes the time of day when the sun is below the horizon, but there is still some light in the sky. It can also metaphorically represent a transitional or declining phase. Let's look at some examples. They took a romantic walk along the beach during the twilight hours. Another example is, the twilight of his career marked the beginning of a new chapter. Some synonyms for twilight are dusk, sunset, and gloaming. Words with opposite meanings or antonyms include dawn, sunrise, and daybreak. Now, let's move on to our final word. The word is spearhead. It is a verb. In English, spearhead means to lead or initiate an effort or movement. In simpler words, it describes taking the lead in starting something or being at the forefront of an action. Let's see some examples. She was chosen to spearhead the new marketing campaign. Another example would be, the organization spearheaded a fundraising drive for a charitable cause. Some synonyms for spearhead are lead, pioneer, and initiate. It's important to note that there are no direct antonyms for this word. Thank you all for joining me in this vocabulary exploration session. We have covered a diverse range of words. Now it's time to test your memory and understanding. Feel free to pause the video and read the sentence carefully. During the biennial conference, the committee deliberated on contentious issues and how to incentivize participants to punch above their weight, showcasing their mettle in the Halcyon Days of the event. Next sentence is, the stagnant economy necessitated an arduous reckoning, prompting the rebel group to usurp power and appropriate resources. Despite sporadic opposition, they spearheaded a movement that beckons positive change. Tell us in the comments if you understood both the sentences, and don't hesitate to share your thoughts, suggestions, and any topics you'd like to explore further. If you found this class helpful and enjoyable, I kindly request you to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might benefit from this video. Your support allows us to reach and help more learners like yourself. Thank you once again for being a part of this vocabulary journey. I look forward to hearing your sentences and feedback. Keep learning, keep growing, and until next time.